everyone, Vegas film critic here, Jeffrey K. Howard, here to review the new Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Leo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and a cast of cameos that has to be seen to be believed. This is his 9th film, and anytime Tarantino has a film that's released, it's an event. It really is. And we can debate if he's one of the greatest directors or not. I think he's one of the greatest directors ever. He is one of my all-time favorites. And so, of course, when this was so exciting to see something where he grew up in Los Angeles, and here's a film that he's dedicated to his experiences in Los Angeles, the last days of Hollywood, 1969, and not only that, you know, it's like a love letter, a Valentine to Los Angeles, just like The Hangover was for Las Vegas. The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is dedicated to that heyday and that golden age of Hollywood in transition. And you have Leo DiCaprio, who plays a country western cowboy, a bounty hunter, on a television show from the 1950s called Bounty Hunter. And it's about him and his stunt double, played by Brad Pitt, who is exclusively working with him. You know, for the last 8 years, he's only done that TV show, and then when the show was canceled, he tried to transition into movies, and, you know, things were some success, but overall, he's trying to reinvent himself, because here, Hollywood is changing to a different attitude, and they're in a different era, and they're trying to survive. What's that expression? Someone told me, an analog man in a digital world, you know? So this is essentially a day in the life of Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth, his stuntman, and it's about them over the course of 2 days, trying to find opportunities, trying to survive in Hollywood. So we get to, there's not so much a plot in this movie, and people have complained about there wasn't a story that you could follow. It's more character driven, and it's just about a day in the life of these people, of Margot Robbie, who plays Sharon Tate, you know, who was one of the victims of Charles Manson. I knew I'd get that maniac's name sooner or later. So Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate, and, you know, it's about her being this free spirit, you know, and people have complained, well, she doesn't have much to do in the movie. I thought she had a lot of time in the movie. I really did. But Tarantino really uses his time in this movie to show a bygone era. And someone who was born and raised in Las Vegas, LA is like my second home. I have been to Los Angeles and Southern California, Hollywood, the San Fernando Valley, all those places my whole life. I can't remember a time where I wasn't going constantly there. So I remember a lot of this, of Los Angeles when I was a kid, you know, and how much it changed. And there's still some vintage Los Angeles there. You know, the Coyote Mexican restaurant, which I've eaten at before. And, you know, the Arclight, the Cinerama Dome Theater is still there. So there's all these incredible landmarks he uses in the film from 1969 that are still around today. And Leo DiCaprio is just delivers one of the best performances of a career. I just think he is fantastic. He's got this little bit of a stutter. He's insecure. He's an alcoholic. He's got so much on the bone for this character that it really shines through. And also Brad Pitt, you know, he's accused of murdering his wife and getting away with it. So there's this tension through the whole movie. Did he really kill his wife? You know, is he capable of killing somebody? You know, and there's also a host of cameos, from Bruce Dern to Kurt Russell to you name it. I'm not going to give everyone away, but it's a who's who. And of course, the great Luke Perry in his final role, which is really kind of bittersweet. And the great Timothy Olyphant. Oh, I just love him. There is so much to love about this movie. Now, is it one of Tarantino's best? No, it's not one of my favorites. You know, it's just because it's such a personal film for him. It's very different. Now, he could have made it a narrative film. You know, he could have made it definitely like he quoted, I think he said Elmore Leonard. He could have made a different kind of movie where he had all this dramatic and all this storyline. But he decided, I just want to follow these guys around for a couple of days, a day in the life, and see how they live their lives, you know? And of course, the final sequence, everyone's talking about. I'm not going to give it away, you know, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's hysterical. It really is. Just think, I thought of Boogie Nights, you know, I thought of some other movies that had that final scene where they have that tension in there, but it's just a great Valentine and a love letter to Los Angeles. And also the music. We have to discuss the music. There are songs in here I've never heard before, and he's always been quoted saying, look, I hear the song and I write around that. You know, and that song that you hear in the trailer, I didn't know that was Paul Revere and the Raiders. You know, so all throughout the film, we hear this incredible score. We see incredible, the vehicles in the background. I was looking for detail. I was trying to trip up stuff and see things that weren't supposed to be there. Even when they're driving down the streets, when they're going fast, all those vintage cars. They could be CG, they could be real, who knows? But you know Tarantino, he's a film fanatic, no digital stuff here. But there was one digital thing that was really funny. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but there's a scene where he allegedly auditioned for The Great Escape, the Steve McQueen role, and they digitally put him in the movie like it was an audition. It was hysterical, it really was. And so I love Steve McQueen. I'm going blank on the guy who played, there's a scene where they go to the Playboy Mansion, and there's an actor that plays Steve McQueen. His mannerisms, his face, I was blown away. I really was. So this is a great experience for someone who loves Hollywood, the classic Hollywood, you know, from the late 60s, from Hullabaloo to you, you name it. Now, I wasn't old enough for all of that. You know, I was 1969, I was like 2 years old. Okay, but it just still carried over into the early 70s. So I love these TV shows, those classic Westerns that Clint Eastwood had, or even Burt Reynolds, who was supposed to be at the Spawn Ranch, where they shot a lot of Westerns, and Bruce Dern had to take over his role. But he was in Gunsmoke, you know, he played a half-breed. You know, so Burt Reynolds had a very, there's kind of like a tribute, maybe his character, you know, Rick Dalton's character that DiCaprio plays. I can see that maybe being a Burt Reynolds kind of character. I'm not sure what Tarantino intended that for. Overall, I need to see it again. Okay, I saw it last night. I need to see it at least 1 or 2 more times. Comes in at 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2:25. But you know what, Tarantino, you did a great job. I love this movie, and I think just some of the best performances too. Don't go in if you're not a Tarantino fan. I don't think you're gonna like it. I don't know. I'm scared to say that I don't think you're gonna understand his style and his attitude. But overall, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great Valentine to Los Angeles. Great job. All right, for more reviews and interviews, just surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. Check me out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so that way you don't miss any of my videos. Also, comment below. What did you think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Did you think it was one of his best films? I don't think it was one of his best films, but it was, you know, I'm not saying it's a terrible film, but I think I got to see it a couple more times. I'm Jeffrey Howard in Las Vegas. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.